You remember what happened to Bleach over a decade ago and how it was the neglected child in Weekly Shonen Jump, how it was thrown into the dumpster bin or in the sun, just left to rot, and they did nothing with the property for a very long time, and you had the community, the very dedicated community of Bleach, always wondering, why do we not have a continuation of an anime? Why do we not have a continuation of the manga? Like, why do you never talk about Bleach? You know, it was a constant discussion for over 10 years, and it was always a series that was clowned on for a very long time. We fast forward to the 2020s, Bleach obviously had a reemergence, and it became something that is big now. A lot of people are talking about it. People see Bleach in a more of a positive light than they did over a decade ago, and I think one of the big reasons why Bleach was even able to come back in such a positive way was probably because we shifted into an era that was more accepting of storytelling that Bleach was offering. For instance, supernatural, demons, and stuff like that. But the point of the matter is if you remember what happened to Bleach, that exact same thing is currently happening with Black Clover. And it is depressing. And let's rip off the band-aid. Let's just get right into it. So, I made a post today after I found out that the actual mobile game of Black Clover is shutting down. And at first glance, this might not seem like too big a news. Mobile games shut down over time eventually. They always do. But it made me start thinking about the current state of Black Clover and just how it's in dire straits. And it's not good. Like, if you're a Black Clover fan, you're not doing good right now. Like, you're rotting away slowly. And I was like, this is exactly identical to what happened to Bleach. So let's get into that. So basically, Black Clover has no new anime. For instance, we have been waiting since 2021. I'll prove it right here. The Black Clover anime ended back in 2021, and we've been waiting for literally 4 years now for a follow-up, a continuation of the anime. But we have yet to get that. Sounds very familiar to a certain series, doesn't it? But it doesn't just stop there. Now we have the shutdown of the Black Clover game. Also very reminiscent to what happened to Bleach. Basically, anything that could theoretically be merchandise and get the name of Black Clover out there, you know, has just continued to be shut down, or it's almost non-existent. The merchandise sales or anything like that. Then, we are only getting a few chapters per year. For those that are unaware, let me kind of let you in on the know. Basically, Black Clover shifted away from Weekly Shonen Jump to basically Giga. It's a different magazine, and it started in the magazine, started going into this new magazine back in chapter 369. Nice. But the thing is that ever since it started to have this sporadic release, there's only been 11 chapters. Yeah, you didn't mishear me. 11 chapters. Like, you can even see the time dates here. So, it was announced in chapter 368, which there's even Reddit posts that talk about this. You can actually see people literally talking about it. But basically, we found out back in chapter 368 that Black Clover would be shifting away from Weekly Shonen Jump into a different magazine. For instance, Giga. And so chapter 369 onward would be entirely different, wouldn't be a weekly format. And if you take a look at how many chapters have come out, it's literally 11 chapters. Now, this might not seem like a lot, and it isn't a lot, but we also get to look at how sporadic the release has been. And why it happened as well. I'll talk about that in a second. But basically, when it started to be in a new magazine, it started back in 2023, way over 2 years ago. And the thing is that you can see how the chapters released. About every 3 to 4 months, you have a batch of chapters come out, like 2 chapters or so, and then it goes back on break for another 3 to 4 months. And you can see that this has been an average schedule basically since 2023. And a lot of people, from what I found out today when I made this post, were completely unaware that Black Clover was still ongoing. That's bad. That's bad. Like, that is actually bad. That there is a lot of people that believe that Black Clover is already over as a manga. It's been finished for years, when we're still waiting for the finale. We're still in the final arc that's been ongoing for years at this point, which is ridiculous. But we got to talk about why we're here, how we got here in the first place before I go any further. So for those that are unaware, Tabata, the author of Black Clover, he experienced a lot of health issues. He was going through a lot of problems, basically, in his final stretch in Weekly Shonen Jump. It's a common story, sadly enough. You see it time and time again where an author will wreck their body, their health, just to be able to get out of manga, especially in Weekly Shonen Jump. And Tabata was one of those that obviously got absolutely demolished by Weekly Shonen Jump's format, so he was forced to shift over to a completely different magazine. And so, I want to make this very clear that it's a good thing that he decided to prioritize his health or balance his, health, his real life, his family life, and all that over the manga. But I think, though, it doesn't neglect the fact of the current state of Black Clover to talk about. I think, in general, I want him to focus on his life and not destroy himself. But it is still sad to see how the property of Black Clover has been handled. Not just, because of the health issues, but just how Shonen Jump and Giga and all of them in handling the actual product that Black Clover is. So let's get into that. So Black Clover is a massive series. It is a series that harbors the same amount of weight in the manga community, at least for shonen, the same amount of weight as My Hero Academia, in my personal opinion. It was always mentioned in conversation. You had debates and stuff of people being like, which is better? My Hero, Black Clover. You had people, doing Black Clover, My Hero, One Piece. You had people talking about Bleach with it. All these power scalings, all different type of conversations around the story in general. And it was always in conversation pieces for any form of manga, especially shonen. But the fact that I have seen the conversation around the series just basically die, like it's flatlined, is unusual. And I think one of the biggest reasons for that, actually, which is someone that pointed out, there's been literally no advertisement for it. So, someone pointed this out saying that the 10th anniversary of Black Clover passed recently, which I didn't even realize, but back in February of this year was the 10th anniversary of Black Clover's manga. And with it, we had no new information, no anime announcement, no news, no merchandise sellings, or anything like that, and basically that's it. Which, this image is extremely ironic, and it gets into what I said at the beginning of the video. Black Clover is being handled how Bleach was. And it really starts to make me wonder what happened. It makes me wonder if there was some form of dispute between Shonen Jump or the magazines that Tabata had with editors or something that might have strained relationships. Now, this is obviously conspiracy theories and just theories and stuff like that. There is no weight to back this up. But it is strange to see a manga that literally sold very well, very popular at that, done so dirty. It's not normal by any means. And I am curious on what happened. But being a Black Clover fan right now is actually suffering. Because the fact that you have to wait like 3 to 4 months just to get like a chapter or two. And then you're in this inevitable like hiatus loop just like waiting for it to return. And then you have to deal with the fact that there's literally no news for the anime or anything else. And now the only game is being shut down as well. It's not a good look. It's not good in general. It's honestly, like I said, it's just depressing. It is just straight up depressing. And I'm curious, like, what happened, man? Because it was always talked about. I always could see at least a conversation around Black Clover on a weekly basis. But I haven't even seen anyone really talk about it until today, when I saw this post. And I was like, damn, like, that's true. Like, I haven't actually seen anything around it, which is crazy. So, tell me your thoughts. What do you think went wrong? Are you still reading Black Clover? Did you even know Black Clover was ongoing? I mean, do you think that Black Clover is the new Bleach, for instance, being mistreated? Be honest in the comments below. I'm actually legitimately curious. But I love you guys. Be safe. Stay healthy. Chibi out.